Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to look at the IS-1 as requested in the comment section of the last video. If you'd like to see a particular vehicle have a video made on it, it can be a tank, boat or plane. As long as I have it, I'll make a video on it. Be the first one to comment it in the comment section and you'll see a video. So, I've actually had a lot more fun with this tank than I thought it would. I thought it'd be pretty rubbish, but it wasn't. So we'll start with the ammo. The starting ammo is the ammo I used for the entire video. I didn't bother touching the other ammo types. I hate APCR because it's obviously very low damage, and I think I can aim well enough to pen things, but you still struggle of course because you're against the Germans most of the time. The Tigers and Panthers are quite hard to pen with ammo types like this. However, that does mean that I am using a good shell rather than an APCR, which means that when it goes into the tank it does a lot of damage with that 85mm. And this gun's pretty easy to fire over long range. Even though its pen's not great over long range, it's pretty easy to do. It's not got much drop on it. So next we'll look at the armor, which is really good. I mean, I haven't felt this powerful in a heavy tank since I was down tiered in a mounts. It really just bounces everything. It's so hard to die in it if you know how to position yourself, because the armor's so thick. I mean, the very front of it is thicker than a Tiger and is angled at the same battle rating as a Tiger, 5.3. So it makes it really easy for you to just sit there and take rounds over and over and do great. And also it's worth noting that the mobility of the vehicle isn't that bad. It only weighs 44 tons, and with it being a vehicle with this much armor, that's impressive. It's got good firepower, got good armor, it's got good mobility. So what does it lack in? I mean, it's pretty much just the pen. The pen is low, but even that's not too bad. You know, punch straight through the front of a Tiger from a fair distance. Obviously a Tiger usually will angle its armor, making it impossible to pen, but not everyone does. And in a down tier you're versing pens or 4s, and they're easy to kill. You punch straight through that armor. So let's see what this is actually like in a combat situation. So as we enter the game here, you can see that the 85 is pretty much one-shotting everything. The damage on the gun's just really good. So it's a Panzer 4 on the side, easy one-shot. Then we've got this KV-1 over here. Again, it's maybe from the side, but an easy one-shot, so you can see the damage is good. I'd actually struggle to pen the KV-1 from the front if he angled himself a bit, but it was a clean shot into his side, so a very easy kill to get. You can notice how the vehicle goes up and down this hill really easily. It's a very surprisingly mobile vehicle. It's not necessarily fast, but it moves well. So there's a Hetzer, one shot again. Not that surprising considering it's a Hetzer, all the crew bunched together and I shot him in the side. Let's get forward a little bit, and I spawn an AA gun, he sprays at me and I shoot his crew off the top of him. Then there is a Tiger here. Now, the strange thing with this Tiger is that I keep putting rounds through his turret. There's one, and it seems the breach was absorbing all of the rounds. At this point here I didn't actually see where I shot from before. I put another round through his turret. He's still alive. We do it again. So you can see he's dead now. So it took 3 through his turret to actually get him. I finally spot this guy here. We shoot that guy before I even waited for the gun to stop, because I was worried about him for returning fire, because I'm pointing a turret at him. The flat cheeks are going to be quite easy to pen for him. As I'm waiting here to camp the points, I hear an engine to my left. At this point I'm trying to work out where it's coming from. You can see me turning the turret because I've worked here that it's definitely from the left somewhere. There he is. Now, he's an easy one-shot like most people are. And as I turn back to try and get in position to fire at this guy, I fire but just miss because I'm trying to do it so quick, and he knocks me out. in one shot. Now, the only example there I didn't one-shot someone was the Tiger, and it seems to be bouncing into the turret. Because his turret was sideways, the breach was like sort of blocking the rounds from hitting either the gunner who was on the other side of the turret, or the driver or radio operator who were down in the bottom of the front of the hull. Now, most of the time, as you saw with the other ones, he just one-shot people. It's a very, very unlikely thing to happen was that he was in the exact position for being shot at from the exact angle, and the rounds going in that particular way. Either way, we still killed him in the end. So, what can we learn about this vehicle? I mean, if you look at this background footage here, you can see me just going up hills fine. You'll see me bouncing a lot of rounds soon as well. And what we can say is that it's actually a pretty effective heavy tank. Now, for a little of history on it, there isn't too much because the IS-1 was quickly replaced, but not because it was bad. So, basically what happened is the KV-1, the KV-2 were both awful vehicles really. According to their crews, they just couldn't move correctly, and they had a gun which had a way too low a caliber. Now, the IS-1 came in to replace them. It was actually pretty good, but the IS-2 came shortly after. Now this is the same hull, but just a different gun, so there's no real point to having the IS-1. You could just have it with a 122mm instead of the 85mm. So it died out quickly, not because it was a bad vehicle, but simply because there was no reason to make them when you could just be making the IS-2 instead, because it's the same thing with a better gun. So there isn't actually that much history on them because of that, but that's the basic history of it. So, also end view of this, we can say that it's pretty good in manoeuvring. It can go up and down hills pretty well, it can turn around pretty well. It's not slow, it's not quick, but it's not slow. The armour is incredible, it's really thick for the tier, and then angled, at least a bit. The gun does a lot of damage, it's easy to fire over long ranges, so there's not much drop. However, there isn't much pen. That's a sweetness. That is why it's not a higher battle rating. And that's why the IS-2 with the same hull is a much higher battle rating. The only problem that thing really has is the pen, so where do we put this on the leaderboard? So it's hard to say with this thing, because it's a really good vehicle, it really is. But at the same time, it's not as good as an SAV. I mean, it just isn't. The SAV is clearly sort of meta-breaking, so it keeps that position, but I think it might even be better than the Panzer III, so I think it might just go under the SAV. I never had a bad game with this thing. You can see me just getting bullied in the background, but at the same time it's not really doing anything to me. They just can't pen. So I'm gonna say second place. It's not bad at all, it's a very good vehicle. I'd recommend it. I thought it was going to be much worse, I didn't realise quite how good this thing is at bouncing rounds. Oh, and some extra notes. The IS-1 is basically just a thick T-34-85, it's the same gun, so I'm sure if you use that, you'll know how to use this thing, except you can rely on the armor for this thing. Also, it's worth noting that it's quite hard to angle this tank. You can't manually angle it, like I normally would with perhaps a German tank, a bit like a Tiger, because the front of the vehicle has sort of a curved edge to the hull. So if you angle yourself, you're just flattening a different part of your armour. And to fight the enemy, it's best to just point at them, so that way you've got your thickest part of your armour actually pointing at them, rather than flattening your side bit, which is 20mm thinner, but not quite as angled as your front. So it's best to leave angling to more square tanks. So guys, thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next video. Leave a comment requesting a vehicle you want to see in the next video. If it's the first comment requesting vehicle that I have, I'll make a video on it. Also, if you could leave a like, that would really help me with the algorithm. It's a bit weird, as I'm sure you're well aware. So thanks for watching guys, and goodbye. Oh, so I have a little problem. The leaderboard's getting a bit long, and I don't really know how to fit it all on, and I need someone to come up with a good idea of how to fit it on. So if you've got any ideas for that, please tell me, that'd be very helpful. Thanks.